Over on BBC One shortly, there'll be a chance to catch up with what's been happening to the EastEnders. Whilst here on 2 now, Nigel Starmer-Smith introduces this week's Rugby Special.
Hello again. Well, our last rugby action before all the excitement of the International Championship descends upon us comes from here in Scotland, home, of course, of the last side to win the Grand Slam 2 years ago. That was followed, of course, last year by a wooden spoon, so perhaps we can gauge something of the current strength in Scottish rugby in our programme today, with principally our match here at Inverleith, which brings us the side who are top currently of the Schweppes Scottish First Division, Stewart's Melville, in action against former champions Heriot. And as well, we'll be taking a look at the best of the action from the match between their two closest rivals, Hawick versus Kelso. Then, later on, we'll be talking to the new Scotland captain, Colin Deans, and see how he assesses the Scots' prospects for the match against France at Muddyfield next week. And bringing the French point of view, a man who's been over in France to assess the action over there, that's Chris Tao. Then the other game, well, that's at Twickenham between England and Wales, and Phil Bennett will be bringing us the Welsh viewpoint on very much a new look Welsh side. And earlier in the week, I was at Wasps at a trading night with Nigel Melville, the England captain, of course, recalled to that role, and I sensed very much that he's optimistic about the hopes for England this season. All that later on, but first let's get on with the main action of the day. The top game, the top side currently in the Schweppes First Division, Stewart's Melville in action against their great Edinburgh rivals, Heriot.
And there the magnificent backdrop of Arthur's Seat and Salisbury Crags, and dominating the skyline, and in much the same way, of course, Heriot's hoping to dominate this Edinburgh match under their new captain, the number 8 Kevin Rafferty. One international in the lineup, the full-back there, but a Scotland winger, that's Peter Stephen, and he took over from the retired Andy Irvine. Heriot's relying on their heavier pack to dominate the set piece, the Milne brothers up front, though without Ian, of course, now down south, and the bulky Greg Miller, Stuart Hamilton. And outside, though it's not necessarily a day when they expect to see too much of the ball, two talented wingers, Peter Hewitt, Stuart McCaslin. And you can see just what a wind we've had, although it seems to be dying off a little as the game's about to start, with Stewart's Melville and against that backcloth of Edinburgh Castle, a side without two of the regular Calder brothers, Finlay the new cap standing down and John the second row who's injured, but nevertheless a lighter pack it may be, but mobile and good support players, spearheaded of course by Jim Calder, Finlay's twin, to whom he's lost his international place. Jim, one of 3 cap players, Alex Brewster the captain, Doug Wiley, fly half and centre, very versatile, and watch out too for the partnership between Wiley and Simon Scott in the New Zealand 5/8 tradition. So the two teams out on the pitch to be joined by the referee from Hawick, Peter Robertson. Not surprisingly, though, it was the weather that was the dominant factor in the first half, with the rain, the bitter winds and the cold. And kicks were difficult, but 3 did go over, 3 penalties, 2 for Keith Ferguson of Stewart's Melville, 1 by Peter Hewitt of Heriot to see the home side 6-3 ahead. In fact, the only real handling movement came close to half-time. Jim Scott to Wiley, Simon Scott, lateral and effective. Cuts back inside once more with the dummy, about 8 metres out from the Heriot's goal line. That's eventually loose, but that was typical of the incisive running of Simon Scott, who's really been one of this season's First Division successes as an inside centre. Well, that came to naught, but it was as close as anything in the first half to a try, but it left the score at half-time still Stewart's Melville 6, Heriot's 3. We pick it up with the start of the second half. And the rain decides to come down in torrents once more. Well, that's an effective tactic in these conditions. Chris Spence did all he could, but Heriot's making valuable territory. Miller up highest. Calder through to spoil and turn. Wiley. Just outside the Heriot's 22. Wiley again. A testing ball for Peter Stephen. Still loose, couple of metres out. A lot of red shirts, but a knock-on. Stevenson tied in. And it's there for Wiley now. Going himself, just a couple of metres short, upended in unceremonious style. Scott and Wiley contriving there, nearly to produce the first try of the match. Well, there's a lot to be said for watching from inside there, I must say, in the magnificent Stewart's Melville clubhouse. Just over a year old and wonderful facilities. Times I think the players do well to stay upright. And bear in mind at all times just how bitterly cold this wind is as well. Blowing straight down from Greenland, I would suggest. Off goes Roddy Stevenson. It's a useful ball. Ken Milne, baby bear of the three Milne brothers. Big Berrien, of course, now down south with Harlequins, but in action next Saturday at Murrayfield. And possession for Stevenson, standing off his Rafferty. Head down on the drive. This is Heriot's best effort so far. Marshall, no way through, but making something on the narrow side. Back to the pack. The drive on by Hamilton. And the pack trying to set it up again. And the wind certainly seems to be behind Heriot's effort now. Pressure still on. The ball charged down. Who got the touchdown? It was a Stewart's Melville player. Scott, I think, just came to the rescue. Julian Scott, how it really has developed into a battle royal involving the referee as well. Peter Robertson now will have to have his shorts well laundered before the next game. He might have hoped to get away with it. And last week one said it flippantly down in Bath that one hoped that the baths were running and warm, but here I think it's essential that they are to thaw the players back to life. Wiley. Another charge down, this time by Jock Bryce. And another bit of blatant obstruction. So Bryce held, and that could prove to be an important error, with Peter Hewitt poised for a relatively straightforward kick. About 10 minutes only to go. A draw, of course, which could see Stewart's Melville deposed from the top of the league table, depending on what happens between Hawick and Kelso. Stephen, a chance to make it level. Hewitt. Hewitt it is. So 6 points apiece. Peter Hewitt, second successful penalty. Well, it's bad enough for the spectators fully clothed, but some of these players must be thinking about suffering from exposure. It really is as bad as that. Marshall. Hewitt with the cross kick could prove useful. Ferguson in some bomber in front of the Stewart's Melville post. And it's there again for Heriot's. It's Jock Bryce. Stevenson, Marshall. Caslin had come into the line, but the move breaks down. Stewart's Melville break out. And Doherty is content to play it into touch. Just a couple of minutes plus a little injury time to add on. And it's Heriot's with a powerful drive. Now, can they turn this into a pushover? Just a couple of metres out. Stewart's Melville try to disrupt. They're offside and concede the penalty. So, are Stewart's Melville going to be denied a win against Heriot's on their own ground again? And this could turn it into a famous victory for Heriot's through Peter Hewitt. It's close, but it just drifted. It was so close, but on the wrong side of the right-hand upright. A cruel moment for Peter Hewitt and Heriot's. And Stewart's Melville may now be thanking their lucky stars to have escaped with a draw, a game which they looked poised to win. Hoisted by Peter Stephen, not quite getting the height he'd hoped for, but Stewart's Melville in real bother, right on the goal line, and conceding a 5-metre scrummage. And really the defence was at 6s and 7s then. A kick which initially looked fairly harmless, it hadn't gone high enough, caused havoc. And now, from the scrummage, Roddy Stevenson. Standing off, Rafferty, Stevenson. Peter Stephen has clinched it in the dying moments of the game. And Stewart's Melville hang their heads in disbelief. But the stocky fullback powered his way through. And that must surely be the crucial score. The first try of the match. Almost 5 minutes of injury time gone. And it looks as though Heriot's have stolen this one. But the pressure they mounted in the last 10 minutes or so proved to be well-timed indeed. So from the scrummage, the ball popped up to the scrum half standing off. And the fullback well placed to drive through and make it to the goal line. And what could well be the last kick of the game, Peter Hewitt with the conversion attempt. And this time to round it off the best possible way for Heriot's. The final whistle goes, and Heriot's, having been territorially outgunned for so much of the game, saved their best till the last quarter of an hour, and that was to prove decisive. A winning try that must surely now displace Stewart's Melville from the top of the table. Bitter disappointment for them, as Heriot's once again find that knack of winning here at Inverleith.
So, Stewart's Melville knocked off the top of the table. Who was to replace them? Let's find out now as we join Bill McLaren, the match at Mansfield Park, Hawick versus Kelso.
Well, down here at Mansfield Park, Nigel, Hawick and Kelso realised, of course, that if Stewart's Melville FB tripped up today, one or other of them could be on top of the Division 1 Championship this evening. Kelso facing a formidable hurdle because they'd never beaten Hawick in National League play. Hawick themselves trying to extend a remarkable run of 30 home National League wins in a row. The conditions were very difficult, a very cold wind blowing down the pitch, slippery underfoot. And Kelso took advantage of them to gain an early lead, and they certainly brought the best out of the reigning champions.
Hasty waits. Kerr. Roger Baird misses out his man to Sandy Thompson. Thompson all the way up to the 22. Great tackle by Easton. Oliver in there. And that really was a searing break by Sandy Thompson. Really made by Roger Baird, who floated the pass beautifully, and Thompson, well, off he went, and he made it to the 22. So they're inside the Hawick 22. Good Kelso shoving. They're beginning to make their weight and technique tell. And Hawick penalised. Holding it in. So it's Bob Hogarth once again. Has a wee bit look to see where his pals are. Little skip and plonk. It works. Second successful kick for Bob Hogarth, and Kelso leading by 6 points. They've played 23 minutes of the first half. Callender throws long. Hogarth palms. McGaughey. This is Murray. Now it's Mitchell. Right. Lovely pick up on the run. Upended. Oliver again. This is Gass using the narrow side. Thompson. Oh, that's a ball that Kelso could exploit. Baird out to Kerr. There's a chance here for Tate, but the pass drifted away. Second chance for him. This is Tate, and a great tackle by Stanger. Alan Tate hurt as he went down in the tackle. And there Sean McGaughey, number 8, did well to get across field. And there it is, the Antarctic Viv Sharp, a Hawick Linden committeeman, and Hawick prop forward on the right there. Easton, a nasty hanging Gary Owen. Easton up there. And it was the fullback, Marshall Wright, who popped it in. 16 minutes of the match to go. Kelso leading 9 points to 6. Gass along the line to Murray, the switch to Mitchell. Great Kelso tackling it, dislodged the ball as well. Right with the clearance kick, but it had gone forward. Colin Easton fancied his chance there of a drop goal, I think. Yes, he might just have been thinking, that's just about my distance. But the whistle had gone. Hasty. Kerr, yes, slicing a bit. Yeah, you see what can happen, he says. His boot will be wet, the ball's wet. Hawick with a quick throw in. Alan Tomes thinking that a moment of extra glory had come for him. Widen the gap in the line out, he says. Campbell palms. Callender hoofs. Gass with a drop goal. It's through. They're level. Not for the first time, Colin Gass has bumped over a drop goal. His 4th in National Leagues this season, his 5th altogether. And really the ball squirting out there gave him the chance to pop it over. It was a lovely kick in the conditions. It's 9-all, and they've to play 15 minutes. See that touch flag, it's been as difficult as that for the lads today. Good Kelso scrummage. They made a muck-up of that Hawick heel. Pick up by McGaughey. Drive on by Hogarth. Now it's Turnbull. Turnbull going for the corner. That was a superb tackle there by Hasty. The drive on by Hawick. The referee may be undecided. They've rolled it round and the try is given. Hawick in the lead. The support jubilant. And let's see who the scorer was. He'd been hurt. The tackle by John Jeffrey. Turnbull was the man who took it on. Now it seemed to have been stopped there at a great tackle by Neil Hasty, but the Hawick forwards kept driving.
And Paul Hogarth spins over for the try. Hawick have taken the lead. Colin, you must be very relieved indeed to have got such a tough hurdle right out of the way.
Yes, Kelso is always a very, very hard game, and with the week before the international, it makes it doubly as hard, but I was very pleased to get that one out of the way with quite a nice win.
Could you take us through the Hawick try, Colin, because you came pretty close to scoring it, did you not?
Yes, I think it started with Derek Turnbull, really, who went off to the right, to the blind side, followed up by Sean McGaughey. And I think Sean took the ground and I was the sort of next player up. I picked the ball up. I actually thought I was scoring again, but I was just pulled up short. I managed to post the ball, and Paul Hogarth went over in the end.
Very important try in the end.
Yes, it was, well, at 9-3 at half-time, we knew with the wind behind us, with elements in our favour, we had a good chance of winning. But it was nail-biting stuff in the end, and it was nice to get that try.
Could we switch now, Colin, from your Hawick captaincy to your captaincy of Scotland? Congratulations, by the way. It's going to be a pretty tough match next Saturday, and you've got to get used to a number of new faces in your side, haven't you?
Well, new faces in the side, yes, but not new to the Scottish setup, as to say, with your representative games, your B squads, even the international squad. All the lads have been in and around the national squad for 2 to 3 years, so they're just not totally alien to me.
And have you played before against Daniel Dubroca? I see France have picked him as a hooker, although he's generally a prop.
Yes, I played against him. Goes as far back as 75 in the B game at Hewenden, where he played prop, and throughout an international career we've bumped into each other now and again. So it'll be nice to play against him at hooker.
And so you're quietly confident about a good start to the championship?
Yes, very workmanlike side and a very fast side, so we'll be looking to keep the ball alive and looking for a good win.
Well, what a week for Colin Deans, new Scotland captain, and his club side back on top of the First Division, and hopeful, of course, of reproducing great things the last time Scotland played France at Murrayfield, a great Grand Slam match 2 years ago.
We've about 3 minutes to go. It's 12 points all. The Grand Slam hanging on those last 3 minutes or so. It's a try there for Scotland, and the scorer is Jim Calder, and they've gone into the lead 16 points to 12.
Yes, what a famous day for Scotland, but the French will be hoping to forget all about that one. So let's find out how the French view their side and their prospects. Call in Chris Tower of Rugby World and Post.
Injury has been the major theme of the French selection process. 3 important key players, 3 important pieces in the French lineup have gone. Captain and hooker Dentran, fly half Lescarbura, and centre Cordoniou. In the front row with Dentran injured, there was a surprising selection of tight head Dubroca at hooker, and he was also appointed captain. Alongside him, a newcomer in the Five Nation Championship, Philippe Morocco of Montferrand, who has played 1 game against Japan alongside Dentran and Dubroca at tight head. In the back row, there is a newcomer in the championship. The young and very talented Eric Champ will make a powerful impression in the line-out, traditionally the weakest area in the French game. And then at fly half, a surprising selection of the old warrior, the hero of the 1981 Grand Slam, Guy Laporte, who replaces Lescarbura injured, Lescure injured, and Didier Camberabero out of form. At centre, instead of the very talented, the superb player Didier Cordoniou, we'll see Pierre Chadebech, a very talented player from Brief, who will make, I'm sure, a great impression alongside Philippe Sella.
Blanco, Laguisque inside, Sella, Sella's there.
Sella. Another player to watch is the old warhorse from Biarritz, the Basque lock forward Haget, who makes his 3rd comeback at international level. Apparently Murrayfield helps him with that kind of incentive to start playing again.
Scotland trying to make it 4 home wins against France in a row. While down at Twickenham, England will be looking for their first home win against Wales since 1982. Wales have come up with 3 new caps in their side, of course, a new captain, what looks to be a very bold selection. So let's hear the views of Phil Bennett.
Yeah, Nigel, exciting times in Wales this weekend with the announcement of the Welsh team, as you say, and the selectors have been very bold and gone for a very young and talented side, and full credit to them because they've shown that they want to express themselves and play a more fluid game than they have in recent seasons, and none more exciting than this back division than they've picked. 2 very, very fast wings in Phil Lewis and Aidan Hadley, but one must say that Hadley, we hear, has been carried off today at Aberavon, but one doesn't know the extent of his injury. And the big surprise has been in the midfield, where John Devereux, the young Cardiff student, has been brought in for his first cap. He's a very talented player, who had a magnificent game earlier on in the season against Cardiff for his college team in the Schweppes Cup. He's going to be very exciting, but a very big task awaits him next Saturday. Let's hope, for Wales' sake, that Bleddyn Bowen can show the form that he displayed at Twickenham 2 years ago when he created that try for Aidan Hadley with a beautiful break.
Dacey, Bleddyn Bowen. Oh, lovely dummy, carves his way through. The gap widens, in comes Hadley. At pace, Butler going for the post, back to Hadley. What a try, and under the post for Wales.
half-back, a crucial position for any team. We have Jonathan Davis, the captain of Neath, a very cocky and arrogant player, and a lot will depend on him next Saturday, because inside of him he has Robert Jones, the scrum half, a beautiful passer of the ball, easily the best passer of the ball in Wales, and he's leapfrogged